Welcome back, Detroit Sports Nation, to another week of Rain City Roar. I am Butler.
I'm Neil.
And I'm Detroit Rick. What's up, bitches?
Where's the bell, Rick?
Where's the bell? Oh, it's right here.
Oh, what process of moving? Hang on.
Jesus Christ.
Well, don't want to ringing.
You have one job, Rick.
I know.
Say,
just like our
bitches?
kicker.
And
Our kicker had one job too, right?
We'll get into that. Let's wait for everybody to get in the chat here. Hey, one thing I want to bring up. We'll wait on that a little bit. Rick, go ahead and turn away, and we're going to do the over-under. Ear muff it. All right. I'm going. Neil's going. We're good to go. That references how many times Detroit Rick says the word penis or a version of the word penis.
You guys are so full of shit.
So
the old actor in Mary Poppins, something Van Dyke. What was his name?
Dick.
There you go. There's one.
We can't lead him. We can't lead him. Actually, I got a good one too. Hold on. I got one. Well, everybody's still getting in the chat. I got one. Hold on. Where was it?
I almost didn't make the show today, man. I almost missed the fun game and everything today.
Well, Jason just summarized the show here.
Jason said.
So we can say what he wrote. We can log out. The end of conversation.
Hey, real quick before we get on the show, for all you guys out there, I went to the emergency room last night. None of you guys know that. I had to go to the emergency room last night. I almost didn't make the show. I come home from work. My wife has this brand new Dyson vacuum cleaner. I'm like, oh, okay, it's cool. Then all of a sudden, I look at the label. They need to change the label on that thing, man. That's bullshit. It's hazardous. It says ball cleaner. Don't you guys try that shit. That shit hurts. The Dyson ball cleaner is not what I think it is. Just want to tell you that. That shit hurt.
Ricky.
He's got little hickeys on his satchel right now. Sorry.
So we got.
It sucks to lose in freaking Seattle.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that real quick. Where people are just finished up getting in the chat here. It just takes about 3-4 minutes. We are called Rain City Roar because we all originated out of Seattle. I'm in Oregon now, but those guys are still up there. So we actually are Lions fans that were living in Seattle, and that's why we call ourselves Rain City Roar. So this was a big heartbreaker for us, for sure.
You know how many bets I lost? I'm buying lunch for a week at work with a bunch of freaking Sea Chicken fans.
Garbage time. All right, guys. One thing too. So we got people coming in now. The chat is for asking questions or communicating with us. One thing I want to get. We got beat up a little bit this week, guys. I don't know if you check our socials at all, but we had especially Neil got kind of targeted on that. We are. Here's one of the examples of the things that they put up. Now, to be fair, they do put us in news stories on DSN, which we should make clear we are not journalists. We are not broadcasters. Okay.
We're drunks.
I can barely write. Detroit Rick can't read, and Neil talks out of his ass 95% of the time. So,
I can read through that of words. Fuck you.
Okay. Well, you can spell fuck and dick. So here's one of the comments we got this week. Michael says, "Where do they get these idiots who think they're hard-hitting, insightful journalists?"
What the, Michael? You freaking dickhead!
Is it? Well, was that about us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was about us.
If we were journalists, we wouldn't be doing this.
I take that as a compliment.
Well, the thing is that we're not journalists. We're not broadcasters. We're just a bunch of Lions fans who like to get together and have a podcast. So deal with it, Michael. But that was pretty funny. He was specifically beating you up, Neil, about your secondary comments last week. So I thought that was really great.
No, so I mean, so let's get a little backstory here. We are three regular ass dudes.
Just three buddies who like to get drunk.
Three buddies that sat around and talked about football and decided that we should start a podcast. Podcast went to this, and then here we are. So if there's ever anything that like any of you guys see that you would like us to maybe touch on or address different ways, or if you would like to provide information for us to reference, I'm totally open to that. That's completely fine. No problem with that at all. So appreciate the criticism. Not a problem.
Whatever.
Not a problem.
What was dude man's name?
His name was Michael.
Hey, Michael, stick to ESPN then.
Grisbowski. Yeah.
Stick to ESPN, dude.
So speaking of, this is where we started back in 2015. Here's a picture of us.
That's great, dude. That's a great pick, man.
That is a great picture.
I got
old fat and bald.
gray hair, all this gray hair, and Ricky's gray hair from the Lions for sure.
Bearded Butler's the best Butler.
Bearded Butler.
All right, let's get.
Butler.
What's that?
Nothing.
All right, baby. Let's get to it here, boys. First quarter. The first half to me was a pretty uneventful game. I was a little frustrated, obviously. Pretty sure you guys were too. Seattle just chewed the clock up there in the first half. I thought the game was going to be over in literally an hour and 15 minutes the way it was going. But what'd you think of the first quarter, Rick? Anything really stand out to you? Or
yeah, her freaking defense couldn't stop shit. So I knew that was going to be rough for us because we're missing so many offensive players. And granted, we're missing Walker on the defense, but I thought for sure that our defense would keep us in this game. I don't think Hutchinson's name was even said one time. I don't even know what's going on. We could not stop the run. And then one touchdown. Well, never mind. Our defense didn't show up until late.
What do you think Matthew means? I'm missing this. No longer SL, now OTL.
Yeah,
it cuts off. I was hoping that you could see more than that because I was curious. Only the Lions, maybe? Matthew, if that's what it is. If it's
Matthew, put something in there. Okay. MVP sports debates. Goff balled out in the defense via YouTube. Balled out in the defense, forgot to show up to work. I think we'll talk on that later for sure.
Right.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Matthew updated his thing. Only the Lions. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, only the Lions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, we're sitting about watching the game, and this first drive, I thought, oh my God, this can't be happening right now. They had their way with us. Well, the first half, actually, not just the first quarter. They had their way with us. I'm like,
They had their way with us through the whole game. There were so many times where I looked at the scoreboard and I was like, it's only that bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Neil said it to me. He goes, we should be getting crushed right now. We're down by 10. We should be getting crushed.
Yeah, I said that the entire first half. I was like, I don't believe it's not worse.
Yeah, it was a weird game, man. They're putting up points. They're scoring. Let me ask. Let's see if Deshaun is watching here. Was this a loss on Goff today? Was this a QB loss or was this a defense loss?
Cool. Defense, never heard of her.
Well, dude, wait. How many? Okay, sorry. No, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious, and I'll go back to the previous regime with previous players and stuff like that too. And it's the same argument that I gave for them on their behalf. Is so throughout the entirety of Stafford's career in Detroit, the defense gave up like 28 points a game, and they scored like 21, 22 points a game. We scored 45 points today, and we lost. That has okay. So I won't say zero. I'll say very little. But it has very little to do with Jared Goff. He did throw that one pick six, which was a bad pick six. We get that ball back, and it's a different ball game, different score, different story. Who knows how it plays out at that point? But you don't go out in many games. Like the Lions are scoring on a relatively historic pace right now. And it's really impressive.
But they're number one in the NFL.
But we're 1-3.
I know.
Yeah. They've got to fix that.
Because someone said, well, you keep losing close games. Well, keep losing close games. Our record's still 1-3.
Can I ask you guys a question? Why is it we always get somebody named Andy on these that hates the Lions? It's so weird. It constantly. Remember the guy we used to have that used to listen back in the day when we were just.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this Andy's back every week. He's just super negative. Andy, I don't like your negativity, man.
I love his negative. I don't want to call it negativity. I want to call it honesty. He said what did he say? It's not like he said like F the Lions or anything like that. He says Hutchinson is overrated.
And what did I say? We didn't hear Hutchinson's name one time today. Andy with an I. We didn't hear him.
And we didn't.
Time. He's a rookie.
It doesn't matter.
Well, we heard Rip Rod like 7 times, so he's a rookie. No. And he's a 6th-round pick.
You get anybody with the last name Bosa that comes in as a rookie, and they are talked about constantly because they're performing constantly. We've seen inconsistent performance out of Hutchinson. And I think at a number 2 pick, we expected more than inconsistency.
Right.
So
no, I agree. So Lions got the ball back after Seattle scored. They went 3 and out. Then old Rip Rodrigo forces the fumble, which was awesome to see. He had a decent game.
He had a really good game.
I think that one time he missed I don't know if it was Geno Smith or the second touchdown or the third touchdown. He missed him right before the end zone because he saved it. But what are you going to do? I mean, open field tackles are tough. So,
I mean, if you ever find yourself one-on-one in the open with a guy that is 30 pounds lighter than you, he's probably going to outmaneuver you.
Who was I'm jumping ahead, but I got it right in my mind. Who was the dude that freaking slammed Metcalf?
That was Rip.
Whipped him up and threw him down. No, it wasn't Rip.
I guess it was.
I guess it was a rookie that just started playing. That wasn't Rip.
Kirby Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph. Wrapped his arms around and threw him ass down.
There were a couple really good.
Because DK, DJ's a big ass dude. DK Metcalf's a big freaking dude.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game, which is surprising.
He had a good enough game, no.
Well, I mean, what are you gonna
so
do?
Interesting fact: DK Metcalf's real name is Daniel Knife Metcalf.
Knife?
I don't know. I just made it.
All right. Amanda says she can tackle every guy lighter than her. Thanks, Amanda. She's tackled me once or twice.
You been tackled?
She has tackled me. She's strong. I'm not
Hey, Amanda, can you kick field goals by any chance?
Yeah, we need you, Amanda.
All right, here, I got a good one for that. This is
look at Amanda. Look what Amanda just said. You little freak.
This came up in Twitter. I thought was really good.
We were getting laughed at, dude. Like, we were getting laughed at in the bar. Dead serious.
Well, and what's funny about what you put up there is that's what they were saying in the bar. The announcement's going on in Ford Field. Can anybody kick a football?
Yeah, that was rough. Let's talk about that a little bit because honestly, I mean, look, man, it was his first game. I think the biggest problem that we have is didn't he play for Ohio State?
I don't know who he played for.
I don't know who he played for. It's a kicker.
I think he did. Tell me in the chat if I'm right on that. That's what I saw somewhere. If not, we'll just blame it on Ohio State anyways. But I honestly, yes, that was a bad. He missed the extra point. He kicks the field goal. Then he immediately kicks it out of bounds on the kickoff. Then he misses another extra point. And at that point, it's like, okay, I was surprised Dan Campbell let him go for it in the fourth there and actually get that.
I was too.
Utah State.
1 second, real quick. Let me address Andy here. It's not that we don't like negativity, Andy. It's absolutely fine. It is.
I don't like negativity.
I don't
need to manifest positivity.
So there's a difference, and I'm going to take Andy's back on this one. There's a difference between negativity and honesty. If we can't have that insect hive mindset where if anybody says anything that's not a glowing review about the Lions, that it's a bad thing and that they're being negative. People are being honest, and he's saying realistic things. He's saying realistic things, and he's not being rude about it. I 100% have your back on this, Andy. Keep the honesty coming. There is a huge difference between honesty and negativity. So I will say that, and I'll stop.
Okay, I just like to see a positive piece of honesty for a second.
They should show us some positive.
Yeah, we don't have no. I don't know. We had some positive today. We had Hawkinson. He's our positive.
We had Hawkinson. We also had Goff. I mean, I don't believe. Here I am, 4 games into the season, and I'm fucking defending Jared Goff. But I mean, he had 26 for 39, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, and that was a bad read on that pick. I can't deny
that.
Yeah,
it was a bad read. No, Goff did great today.
I'm defending Jared Goff. I don't even
say it louder. Say it louder, Butler. Say it. I love it all. Say it.
I'm not going that far. I'm still.
He did great today.
I'm off the Goff hater wagon. I'm standing on the side of the road, like I said last week, waiting for the bandwagon to drive by.
Is Jared Goff a top 16 quarterback?
Yes. Breathe it in. Breathe it out.
This year he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at you. All right.
There you go. Look at Will agrees. I'm sick and tired of this defense and people trashing Goff. Goff is not the reason we lose. He had no weapons, a decimated offense, still puts up 45. fucking defense. Okay.
Boom, boom, bam, right there, buddy. I'm telling you, Goff had a great game. That interception wasn't on him. It was a bad read. The only thing against Goff I have today was he had that first down. He had that first down, and he threw the ball.
Is he a quarterback or is he a running back?
He threw the ball, but he threw the ball into 4 defenders. 4.
That was a bad call. But we're lucky we didn't get it picked off. So
there was another one standing on the sideline.
Look at Andy. Andy came out with some positivity. Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. Let's talk about, I think, the biggest theme that we already hit. We're getting in the second quarter. And I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing on the chat is everybody wants to talk about this. Let's just get to it right now because Aaron Glenn is struggling because or do you think it's the defensive players?
I think it's the execution. So we have to remember that we have a lot of young guys on the back end of that defense. I will say probably the most senior guy on the defense, who wears number 34 and has really nice long blonde hair, probably had the worst showing out of everybody on the defense today.
Yeah, right.
Anzalone?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I saw Anzalone in the first half making some plays, though.
Oh, he was always right there just a step too late. Yeah, he did great.
He was on the camera.
Isn't he a monster back linebacker? I mean, that's his job is to cover that, right?
He was playing paparazzi defense today. He was always right there seeing it, but he never was involved. He was the liability of the day early on in that game. I would say probably through the first 3 quarters. Amani Oruwariye, he had a bounce back game. I'll call that. Jeff Okuda played a good game, but
I don't know what game you were watching. I'll say that with the caveat that I don't know who the hell was supposed to be covering like the 5 touchdowns that were wide open on everything. The corners and the safeties.
Rashad Penny just didn't get touched on his 2 big touchdown runs.
He ran through there untouched.
Noah Fant was wide open. There were so many people that were wide open. So I don't know who to say who had a bad game because I'm not sure whose responsibility that was. I tend to put most of that on the safeties because that's literally what they're called is safeties. But yeah, there were a lot of blown assignments, and I just don't know who to point the finger at so far. But in situations where there were contested plays, I think,
Yeah, AJ's on here. Goff is not a top 16. I don't know. AJ's been he's just been arguing with me the last couple weeks. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we should have AJ on here and we should talk about why he's not a top 16 QB. I mean, I think that we can all agree he's a top 16 QB, right?
AJ, is Goff a top 31?
All right. Who's covering the tight ends in the bootleg? Yeah, I talked about that a little bit. It seemed like they had a bootleg plan. They went opposite side of the field. They were dinking and dunking little screens and stuff like that on us. They drew on us a couple times. I don't know how the defense didn't adjust to that. And that comes back to the Aaron Glenn problem. I don't know, man. You think he's on the hot seat?
I think that there's definitely some conversations that need to be had about how the defense was played today and the thought process that went into that. I get that you're playing against – I wish that they would have gone in this game not knowing Geno Smith's name, because I think that they looked at it and said, "That's Geno Smith. Let's make him beat us," and he did. He did. So they went out there, and the passing game was, I won't say good enough, I'll say great enough that it absolutely allowed for the running game to do its thing on their behalf. Like I said, Penny had those touchdown runs where he ran for a country mile and he wasn't touched by anybody. And you only get those opportunities when the defense respects your passing game. So Geno Smith was playing a solid game today. He was doing what he needed to do when he needed to do it. He ran when he needed to. He threw where he needed to throw when he needed to. It was one of those games where I don't think that they respected Geno Smith. And that's why they played so soft on defense, because you would see so many of those passes where they catch the ball and there's nobody around them. They were playing such a soft zone that it was unreal.
When do you switch that up? I mean,
as soon as
work in the first half. Yeah, it didn't work in the first half. It wasn't going to work in the second half. I just don't know. I don't know why they didn't do anything to change that.
And I don't know. I would say that there's some questionable decision making right now, especially between last week and this week. With you're sticking with the same thing that's not working, and then or like last week was you got something that's working, and you completely go away from it at the last minute, and then you lose the game. So we got really creative and lost a couple games in a row here, and that's not good. So,
so I'd seen this. I actually responded to this one on Twitter. It said Dan Campbell with some suspect calls once again. Why didn't you go for 2? Well, I mean,
he had to go for 2. A kicker can't kick a fucking football.
No, that was the first time after the first one. Why didn't he go for 2? That wasn't after the second one. But I don't really think Dan Campbell was to blame today. No. He didn't have as much energy. I noticed on the sideline. He looked like us every week, just like deflated and kind of depressed. But I don't know. I don't think it was Dan Campbell. I mean, if you're going to put blame on coaches, I think we can all agree it's on Aaron Glenn this week. Which I hate to say because I like Aaron Glenn, but I don't know. I think he's on the hot seat. I think he's got another couple weeks if the defense doesn't do something.
At the end of the day, though, who's got the final decision? Who makes the final decision?
Campbell.
Mm-hmm. And if you let that go on for a full 60 minutes, whose fault is that?
Well, one thing I saw on Twitter was that Dan Campbell's clock management is fucking dog shit, and I agree with that. I haven't seen a worse clock management from a coach in a long time. I mean, I'm trying to think back. Who is that guy a couple years ago? It wasn't the guy in Chicago. Was it Lovie Smith? Is he the guy in Pittsburgh?
No,
I don't know.
No.
Anyways,
he's in Houston.
Lovie Smith is now.
No, I think Houston.
I thought Lovie's coached college football. Didn't Lovie Smith coaching like the?
Oh, he's coaching
like Illinois or something. Yeah, Lovie Smith used to be the Bears quarterback.
Bears, as it was the Bears. He had a horrible
now he's doing. I think he's Illinois football coach.
Yeah.
Don't forget our sponsors.
No, we're on it, baby. Troy has it. I think speaks. We'll kind of tie that in a bow right there. What a rough game. It was a rough game.
Why can't we just bring back drunk ass Prater? Do a shot of freaking whiskey, get out there and kick your freaking points and sit back down.
You got to reach out to Prater and get him on here and convince him to come back. I guess, huh?
So I touched on.
Oh, he's in Houston. So okay, yeah.
He was
Good job.
Illinois,
Thanks, AJ.
now he's at Houston.
Thanks, AJ.
That's not bad. I
know, right?
Look at that. For a guy I don't know.
So let's get our sponsors in real quick here at Detroit Sports Nation. We are sponsored by Montucky. Montucky has been with us from the beginning. They give us free beer. Let me show you a picture of the beer. It's like girl again. I don't know how that happens every week. No, it's really cool. They have a cold snack locator, so you can find Montucky. You know what I want to do? I thought it'd be kind of fun is you guys send us your pictures of you drinking a Montucky next week.
Hey man, bless your little heart. Show that picture again.
Which one? This one, Rick? This is your favorite.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. There we go.
And then also we are also. Go ahead. Sorry, Neil. Did you say something?
I didn't say a word.
Oh, I heard something.
For a change.
He fought it.
And then also, you guys get over to gearupdetroit.shop. We got some cool T-shirts over there, and we'll have one up here eventually. You got to get do that. Will you guys remind me to do that this week?
Yep. I'll send you a text right now.
Okay, cool. So going into the second quarter, Hawkinson touchdown, but then again, we missed the extra point. And then we get to the fake punt after Geno Smith did a draw for a touchdown. Was that a good call on the fake punt?
Yeah. Remember our first show when I said I'm excited to see what kind of tricks Campbell pulls out of his ass? Because last year he did a lot of trick plays like there was only game, and I was waiting for something like this. And for me, it was unexpected, especially the field position we had. I know you're not going to believe me, but I actually thought to myself, I bet this is going to be a pass, a fake punt.
I do believe you because let's talk about your dream for a second.
Whoa. Was it a wet dream? What kind of dream was it?
So I had two dreams. We can only talk about one of them.
I wake up this morning and I have a message. We have a message in the group chat from Butler. And this is well before the game starts. And it says, this is at Pacific time, 8:58 a.m. So an hour before game time, an hour and 2 minutes. He says, there's a fruit fly. He says, I had a nightmare. The Lions had 2 fumbles and 1 interception, and got stomped by the sea shits. Well, we were one fumble short of that being completely true, and we didn't get stopped. It was a close game, but
no,
I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to keep your dreams to your damn self from now on.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, but then, like I said, you're not going to believe me when it actually comes true. So, all right. Second quarter, we're only down by eight points. I was surprised. But...
Time out.
Yeah. Time out. Woo, blow the whistle.
Right. Ryan says, how can players use the cart so they can get to the bathroom faster, piss or shit under the sheet, or walk? Did somebody use the cart to go to the bathroom?
DK
Metcalf.
He got a ride to the pooper?
He got a ride somewhere. He was on the cart riding. I didn't see him get hurt. He was on the cart.
You know what? I did see him riding the cart.
He was in the cart.
Was that to go to the bathroom?
Him and
if you're David Knife Metcalf, you get to use a cart to go take a piss.
Why you have a binky in your mouth?
That's incredible. I didn't realize that was why he was on the cart. I want to look that up.
That's true. They came back from commercial and the announcers were talking about it. They were saying how don't worry, Seahawks fans. DK's okay. He just had to go to the bathroom, and then Chris, what's his name, was all embarrassed that he kind of called him out on it. So,
well, that's like the bagel sailor. The guy in the Navy. There's a story about a guy in the Navy who they asked on like Reddit or something like that. Who is the laziest? What's the laziest thing you've ever seen? And there was this guy who. He was just not a morning person, and the sun was coming through the porthole first thing in the morning. And instead of moving, he literally picks up the phone, and he had the rank and authority to redirect the ship and just told it to change its trajectory a little bit. And the guy that was sitting there that was telling the story, he goes, I didn't know if he like realized what he did, but he literally redirected like so many thousands of tons of steel and like 6,000 people just to get the sun out of his face, so he didn't have to scoot 4 inches to the left. DK had that moment right there. If he rode the cart to go to the bathroom, that's what that was.
Hey, it might just be back in the day when I used to do a lot of drugs when I was a kid, but sometimes you got to go, and you can't move, you can't waddle there.
Oh, if you're doing the poop and shuffle, like I get it.
Okay, well that's why I'm thinking he probably couldn't get to where he could get to me.
Amanda's in rare form right now.
What's that?
Amanda, she's in rare form right now. She's all over it.
Good old Amanda.
So I prefer Austin's dream over your dream, Butler.
Yeah, I prefer Austin's dream too.
Dream of a winning season from the Detroit Lions.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Hey, we still got 13 games to go, man.
I know, but man,
I did not expect this to be 1-4 right now.
Yeah, me either. And today hurts. And you know how many bets I lost, and I got to go to work tomorrow. I have to call it sick.
I told you stop doing that years ago, Rick. Okay, so
but this is all here to beat them.
You can't do it. Although we did have a good record against the Seahawks until the playoff game, but those couple years before that we whooped them pretty good. So that's what I want to talk about right now. We're 4 games in, 1-3. I don't really think we're in as bad a shape as everybody thinks we are.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, we haven't been blown out. All of our games have been now. Today was a 3-point game. The Eagles game was a 3-point game. The Vikings were a 4-point game.
Excellent.
So. Yeah,
all games in the NFL are close. That's the other thing. We talk. We're
not getting blown out. But the problem is, you can put what was the score today?
48-45.
48-45. So you score 45 points and lose, you got a problem.
And the problem is the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take this opportunity, and I want to revisit what we talked about earlier on going into the season, in the first week of the season, probably the second week of the season, and maybe even the last week too. I don't really remember, but
remember.
Who's the problem right now, Butler?
Defense.
Is it the offensive line?
Nope.
I'm sorry, what?
Nope.
Did you say what?
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
Want me to slap him for you?
No.
I'm not going to, because he's big and he's next to me. And
the other problem, I mean, and I fucking hate doing this, but we got to do it. I mean, the other problem is what in the actual fuck? Have you ever seen them pick up 3 flags in one game before?
No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And the other one is that fucking 4th and 16. That's bullshit. Fuck you, run a play. and then turn around and say, well, bad, the clock wasn't working, blah, blah, blah. They ran a fucking play.
I'm counting that as picking up a flag pretty much. But yeah, I mean, that was
bullshit.
terrible.
That was you.
And at the end of the game, the refs were trying to make it up to us in the fourth. Like I knew there was going to be no way that they were going to overturn that. You know, that was actually the first time I ever saw the rule. If it isn't enough to overturn the ruling on the field, then it stands. So we do have a guest that just jumped in, and we got somebody who was at the game. We're going to bring in from the corner, the box. I'm sorry, AJ, you're going to have to tell us what you do on Detroit Sports Nation because we're so focused on Rain City Roar. We're going to bring in AJ Riley for
what's up?
Chat.
Hey, AJ.
What's up, man? How you doing, AJ?
Look,
Grit. I like
I
it.
got it. They put them on sale today. You can tell I've kind of lost my voice from all the doggone yelling at third downs that we couldn't stop.
How loud was it there?
It was so loud.
Yeah,
Like-
it sounded loud on the TV. It sounded so loud, dude.
That's legit something that I am going to talk about on Beyond the Box tomorrow night at 7:00 is like how great of an atmosphere Ford Field is. But my goodness, what a freaking frustrating game this was.
I bet.
Oh my gosh.
It was
And
probably
Butler,
easier
to your
being
point-
there.
Well, I don't know, because to your point about that flag being picked up on third down, like by all accounts, that was actually the correct, like they had blown the play dead, but you couldn't hear it.
Oh,
that-
okay.
That's what I got
Fair enough.
after leaving the game is what, like, so was it no, it looks terrible, right? It looks awful for us because it's like we legitimately made them throw the ball to nobody, stopped them on third down, and then they ripped off a 35-yard, touchdown that Rashad Penny was not even anywhere close to. It was so frustrating. I mean, guys on islands and man-to-man coverage all game long. Can't stop. I mean, Anzalone's 3 to 4 yards behind tight ends in the flat every single pass. It was awful. In fact, that's just going to go. I'm getting rid of it.
There you go, brother.
Were they actually trying to play man today?
The whole game, Neil, the whole game. Like my brother and I are sitting there watching the game, and we're like, listen, Kirby Joseph's sitting in a single high safety set, and they're just manned up for, I would say they were manned up probably 75% of those snaps.
Okay, this is worse than I thought, Butler. This is
I
terrible.
was wondering, you were saying zone earlier, and I said it looked like man to me. So
I'm telling you, like, and every single one of those play action passes to the tight ends in the flat, like they finally I did the math, 57 minutes into game time, and they finally covered it once. One time, 57.
Really?
2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They finally stopped it.
So like we can only see bits and pieces of kind of like what the coverage looks like on the TV, and these guys were just so open. I assumed that they were playing zone. They were playing man.
So wide open.
Oh, that's bad.
They were man the whole time, and maybe not the whole time, but I mean, every play I'm sitting there watching my brother and me, and we're like, okay, look, Kirby Joseph single high safety, Deshaun Elliott walked down into that like fourth linebacker strong safety spot, and they were just running man. Like it was brutal. I mean, and then I don't know if you guys remember that deep ball they got to Lockett in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But there was nobody, like not even a single player in the middle of the football field. It was the worst defensive display of football that I can remember seeing ever, to be honest with you. It was so bad.
What do you think the problem is there? Is it the players executing?
I think for sure it's the players executing, but the onus has got to be on Aaron Glenn. He has a bare cupboard, okay, for sure. Like their defensive talent is not anywhere near their offensive talent, but I mean, if that's the case, you got to scheme to your players, and you're not scheming to them. I mean,
yeah.
Anzalone and Rodriguez multiple times got caught in the wash on play action passes, which, okay, sure, sell out to stop the run, but
that's what they're designed to do, right?
But yes and no. I mean, somebody's got to cover the tight ends, right? So, I mean, and it's the scheme. I mean, each one of those, if I'm not mistaken, but like the long run in the third quarter that Penny had on 3rd and 16 when they got the second third down try, right?
Mm.
And then in the fourth quarter, I mean, you're selling out the blitz, and you're going to live or die by the blitz, and you do not have enough talented players to live and die by the blitz.
Fair.
Well,
You simply do not.
Right.
And then Penny run, he was untouched. No one even
both
touched
of them.
him.
Both of them.
Untouched.
And if you remember, he would have had a third one too, but he tripped over the 30-yard line.
Yep.
To be fair, though, in the first half, Penny wasn't doing anything against us.
No, he had 4 rushes for 2 yards in the first half or something.
And he kept getting stopped. So,
but what did they do? They bounced it outside the tackles instead of running in the interior. I don't think they ran except for towards the end of the game on the interior line at all. They started bouncing and getting speed sweeps to Walker, to number 1. I don't even remember what his name was. And then Penny, like every single one of those runs were off tackle runs. They're running away from where the blitzes were actually coming from.
So I'll say this, and it might be a little bit of stubbornness that plays into this, but one of the biggest things that we saw during Hard Knocks was Deuce Staley like really preaching, stay in the middle, run through the line, don't bounce outside. And we've seen success with that. But when you get so committed to that mindset and you're unwilling to adjust and adapt to what the other team is giving you, is that an opportunity that we could take advantage of, in your opinion?
Could the Lions?
So stubborn? Yeah.
I mean, the Lions run game, what Deuce was saying in that was, Deuce, no, you're not going to score many touchdowns just running straight up the middle of the field.
Right.
Generally, running backs are going to be taught to, you go hash, numbers, sideline. Like that's your progression as you make your way out. The problem with Swift was that he just always wanted to bounce immediately, right? But you got to work through those levels. So, I mean, yeah, but our offense without Swift is not designed to run the ball outside.
Okay,
our offense with Jamal Williams, I mean, Williams broke that long run, which was fantastic for my fantasy team. But like that long run, and I've got to say this because I know you guys were talking about the clock management, but their clock management at the end of the first half was flawless.
Right.
It was like I was sitting up there and I was like, this is exactly how you manage a 2-minute. You had 3 timeouts. You were first and goal. You ran the ball. You threw the ball away on second down. You had 8 seconds left. You ran the ball from 3rd and 1, got stopped. You used your final timeout. 2 seconds. You're either scoring or they're going into half. Yep. And that was like Dan Campbell needs a lot of. I'm sure that there's more involved than just Dan Campbell, but like that was a fantastic use of clock management.
Yes, he redeemed himself 100% from what we saw.
I don't know about that because here's another thing that I picked up on in the fourth quarter. Right, the Seahawks are running the ball. They got the ball with like 5-6 minutes left. Geno Smith again. They're not playing a great quarterback. They're playing Geno Smith, who they made look like a great quarterback today.
Yep.
He's up to the line, ready to snap the ball with 15 seconds left. He calms down, lets 10 more seconds run off the clock. The exact opposite thing that Jared Goff did last week against Minnesota. And I made mention of that to my brother. I go, look at what Geno Smith's doing. This is how you run the ball with a lead in the fourth quarter. You're not trying to necessarily run the clock out, but you're trying to take as much time off as you possibly can. And Geno led the team today. I mean, Geno we made him look like a freaking all-pro.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when you can make Geno Smith look good, your defense is struggling. Let's get back.
Most points given up through 4 games in NFL history.
And the most points scored this year. And so, it's right back to it. So we're negative. We're just canceling each other out with the offense and the defense. But let's talk about why you came on, AJ. So you're saying that Goff he's a bottom 24, or what you said was, I should say a bottom 8, my bad. So what's your beef with Goff?
Look, and he's not the problem. He's not the problem. I want to be very clear about this. Like, this is not, there's way more problems than Goff, but he is statistically it looks good in the box score, but when you break down the analytics, I mean, up until this game, he'd thrown 35 passes beyond 10 yards and only completed 15 of them. And there's some drops in there, sure, I get that, but you saw what Geno Smith was able to do when he actually threatened the field down the field. It stretches the defense and allows for underneath routes. If you're just dinking and dunking all the time, it's not giving you much, opportunity. Goff has not been helped by receivers. I want to be very clear. And again, not the biggest problem, but I really question, like, in the fourth quarter, they ran a corner route to Hockenson that got him down to like 1st and goal. But the moment he snapped the ball, his eyes were just right on Hockenson. Like, he never came off his read or anything like that. And Will's right. Like, I was at the game. There's very little separation that's happening. But I mean, even the doggone interception that he threw, and he should have had 2 other interceptions. He threw one locked on his receiver that got dropped in the second quarter, and then the ball that he scrambled on 3rd and 16 and threw it to Khalif Raymond, a prayer that should have also been picked off. Like, you just cannot be making those decisions as a quarterback, and you got to find a way to get out there. And I feel like everybody's waiting for J-Mo to get back, and it's going to just open up this offense, but not if we can't push the ball downfield. Like, not if we can't push the ball downfield. And J-Mo coming back, great, fantastic. Still kind of wish we would have picked defense at 12. I think that that kind of clears, is pretty clear.
To be fair on the Jared Goff, okay, his quarterback rating is 63.6%, 8th in the league. 748 yards for 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I gotta say, I expect a lot more interceptions at this point. So maybe that's why I'm just so happy with it.
On paper, that sounds great,
right?
But
yeah, it's not like. And if you look at the statistics, the box score looks good. It's the little things that don't show up in the box score, like misreads. Like, he's had 2 pick sixes now. One that potentially was not his fault against Philadelphia. It just looked like a miscommunication between him and Hockenson, right? Yep. But 2 pick sixes now that have cost us, are the difference in a game. Yep. Right. And there's other things that contribute to those differences. It's not solely his fault, but like missing hot reads and like not throwing behind blitz, like just different things that aren't going to show up and if only 35 of his passes were going beyond 10 yards up until this game, and he had a good game today. He had a very good game today. I'm not criticizing his game today, but up until today's game, he was at less than 60% completion, and most of his passes are below 10 yards. Like, that's problematic. And Will, to your point about him playing, what?
I said, that's Tom Brady small ball. I'll take it.
But Tom Brady pushes the ball downfield.
Occasionally,
yeah, and he completed more than 60% of his passes when they were short. But to Will's point, like playing coy with his eyes, like I get that, but he's not coming off that. Like, where he's looking is where he's throwing. I watched it in film multiple times and saw it a lot today.
That was my biggest complaint with Goff is he always looks where he's going to throw the ball.
Like, Will, I totally understand. I get what you're saying, but like that, I go back and it's one play. I understand that it's one play, but that one toss to Hockenson before Hockenson's touchdown, it was a corner route to Hockenson, and the moment the ball was snapped, I was sitting in that corner. That's where my seats were today. His face mask was square up with me the entire time. Like, he couldn't have been looking anywhere else. It was right at Hockenson, and that's where he threw the duck of a ball to. So, I'm not a huge. I think that if the Lions ultimately want to take the next step, it's going to have to be without Jared Goff. Now, he's a quarterback this year, and I want him to play well this year, and I want him to do well, but I don't think beyond 2022 he should really, be around. But, guys, I'm going to jump. Thanks for letting me crash your party.
Hey, awesome.
Anytime, buddy.
Beyond the Box, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. You can pump that a little bit.
We'll do it. Beyond the Box, AJ.
We'll see you guys.
All right, man.
Yep. Good, AJ.
So, speaking of TJ Hockenson, this is the portion of the show where we talk about the Matthew Morris performance of the week, and we've got 3 candidates today. TJ Hockenson is one of them. Let's recap what he was able to do today. He had 8 receptions for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another candidate is Jamal Williams, who had 19 rushes for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then only gave 2 pumps. And then we have Malcolm Rodriguez. Who had 8 tackles and 1 forced fumble. Those are going to be your candidates for performance of the week. So Rodriguez, Jamal Williams, TJ Hockenson, throw your opinions in the comments.
I started out in Rodriguez, and I lean towards Hawk. I don't know about you guys.
Hockenson had a monster game.
You can't help but vote for Hawk. Dude, his career high with yards today. He tore it up.
So the one thing that I will say, not trying to sway anybody in their decision making of this, is that even though this is the performance of the week category portion of the show, Williams is having a solid season. He just gets 2 touchdowns. Like, I mean, at some point, I mean, he stepped in knowing that there was going to be no Swift today. There was a lot of pressure on him as the guy that was going to be the primary carrier of the ball, and he delivered. He showed up. There were a lot of folks today that realized that Jamal could run.
Okay. So you talk about the running back showing up. Hawkinson showed up too.
Yeah,
they haven't been utilizing him at all. I mean,
no,
I don't think I think he had like 3 or. I saw a graphic earlier. I think he had like 4 or 5 catches for like 40 yards for the first 3 games, and then he had the game he had today. So,
well, I
agree.
I never ever will try to make light of a person being injured. And I'll never say that it was a positive that a person was injured, but I think that with Swift and St. Brown both being out this week, they just remembered that they had Hawkinson as an option.
Right. Absolutely.
And he performed well. He played well. Did he make?
That's going to help them going forward when both those guys come back.
Yeah, dude, I'm still positive about things. I'm still absolutely positive about things. We're looking at a situation where, again, we've lost by a total of 9 points this season or something like that, 9-10 points this season. And it's lost us 3 games. But we have a game next week against the Patriots. And then we have a bye week. Folks are going to be able to get healthy. After the bye week, we'll probably see Jamal Williams, hopefully, come into the fold. There's going to be hopefully you get Swift over his thing. Hopefully you get St. Brown over his thing. And then if you come back week 6 and you're dressing Williams and St. Brown and Swift and Hawkinson, look the fuck out, because that's going to get serious. That's going to get serious real quick.
Well, so let me ask. Let me have one thing real quick. Amanda said I was surprised how much Reynolds actually impacted. Actually, Reynolds has had a good year.
Reynolds is solid.
He's been having a solid game. But one thing I want to ask though, Rick's over there. Walk around a little bit real quick. Walk over to Neil.
We have to support our sponsors.
Don't say anything. Walk over to Neil. Walk around a little bit.
Walk over to Neil.
Walk in a circle.
Walk in a circle.
I'm worried.
Is he wearing high heels?
What's that?
No, he's wearing the shoes. They're just clicky.
Oh. Converse, baby.
I just figured you were cross-dressing today, Rick.
Fucking peckerhead.
All right. Speaking of, we got our Montucky.
Wait. Real quick. Did we determine what the crowdsourced answer was to the?
We're still waiting. Let's give it a little bit more. Let's keep posting your comments who the Matthew Morris player of the game is in the chat. So again, want to thank our sponsors, Montucky.
Cheers.
Great stuff. Thank you, Montucky. And also GearUpDetroit.shop. Go over RCR 25 off, get 25% off. It's great shirts and all sorts of junk over there. So go buy something.
Oh, sure.
Tell them RCR sent you. All right. Well, it looks like I guess Hawk is the winner of the Matthew Morris player of the game.
Of course he's a winner. He's not.
No, that was a big game. I will say that Williams.
He had a game of his life today, man. And what did I say for the game started? I said Hawkinson has to step up today. He has to step up.
Did you say that, Rick?
Oh, I thought there was more words coming out. No. Oh, okay.
And then Dan Campbell, in an interview with Dan Campbell, he said, "Yeah, we have all these injuries, but the next man up. Of course, he's a starter. So, but he did step up and fill in for what we were missing on offense today.
Yeah, I'm not blaming this loss on the refs.
It could have been 52-0 where the game started out today. I'm
not blaming this loss on the refs. I'm not blaming this loss on that we had 2 or 3 of our star players out. It was just a bad game, but at the same time, it was a good game. I mean,
yeah.
Again, they kept it close, guys. I mean,
all
NFL games are a touchdown or touchdown on the field goal.
What about that pass interference call where he literally just did this?
I didn't. Which one? I don't remember that one.
Zing. No, I don't want to talk about refs.
I know. I don't either. And we don't do that.
Aside from that,
even the Seahawks fans are laughing, saying, "Make the pass interference on that." And Seahawks fans are laughing about it. We're like, "Oh well, welcome to being a Lions fan."
Aside from the clock stoppage one, I had no issue with how they called the game today.
Yeah, that was a crucial penalty.
Neil, don't you run the Rain City Roar Twitter account?
Yep.
What did you put on Rain City Roar's Twitter account today?
Butler has a big penis.
Which one? I think the one
definitely didn't put that.
I think the one that you're talking about is probably.
Does this only happen to us? I'm actually asking. I think is the tweet.
I legitimately want to know.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you mean by that, Neil?
With the clock stoppage thing.
Neil. Oh, the clock stoppage. Okay.
Yeah, that was what
are
it
you
was
talking? So you're talking about the refs?
Well,
Neil, are you talking about the refs?
In that one
Neil,
instance,
remember earlier when you nailed me down
on
on is the offensive line the problem here? Are you talking about the refs?
that one time?
Yes or no?
That one time.
It's a yes or no question, Neil.
One time in band camp.
No, that one time about that one really obscure, really irregular thing that happened that ended up boning the Lions. Yes, I was talking about the refs.
Okay, that's all I wanted. I was
So, hey, Butler.
And that's all I said negative about him during the game.
Well, now, time out. We were in the bar, so it was loud. The Seahawks fans were screaming loud. It was loud inside there, and we couldn't hear the explanation. Then someone else said that the clock wasn't working. So it would have been fourth. They ran a play. Explain us what happened because we didn't hear what the fucking penalty.
AJ explained it. AJ explained it. It was called dead, but the crowd was so loud they couldn't hear it.
Oh, he did explain that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I'm a little slow. I can't even back me. Sorry, AJ. You're right.
Hey, Detroit, Rick, is your story of the week have to do with your charity run that you guys did?
Oh, yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, you can do whatever you want. I was just going to show.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Why don't you tell us about your charity run that you do?
All right. So every year we do a poker run. We do a couple poker runs, and we honor our brother Scotty Call, who had died in a motorcycle. So we always do veteran suicide and breast cancer. So this week we did a breast cancer poker run, raised $10,000.
This $10,000.
It's a great showing.
$10,000, and we had about 118 motorcycles, and we all dressed up in pink. And to see a bunch of freaking bikers dressed up in pink there it is. So
every time Rick rides, they make 10 grand for somebody. It's amazing.
The hard part about me,
that's awesome.
What was so messed up about what I wore is I left my house like at 6 a.m. to go at the bar. I had to get there first, get things all set up, and meet some other people there. Now, if you're riding down the road with 4 or 5 people dressed in pink, someone's going to say to yourself, must be something going on with breast cancer. But I'm all by myself, and I'm going down the road to get gas in my motor. I pulled in a gas station, and I got this big old freaking pink afro and a tutu, leg warmers, and I pulled in the gas station, and everybody's looking at me like, what the hell's up with this guy? I didn't put a lot of thought. Show that picture again. I didn't put a lot of thought into my costume because going down the road, this freaking afro was pulling my head back, and my tutu flipped up in my face. So I'm trying to hold the tutu down and keep my freaking head down and ride this big old Road King. So it was pretty brutal.
I think the important thing here, Rick, is you raised $10,000. That's pretty.
We did raise $10,000. So we all love titties. Everybody loves titties, right?
Yeah. I'm a leg man, but I like titties too.
Saving second base, baby.
Hey, if you ever do a leg cancer run, I'm there, buddy.
A leg cancer. What if you? Never mind. I can't even touch that. You're fucking idiot.
All right. Let's talk about we've the last 3 weeks we've said what's the best part of this team right now, and I will just go ahead and let the comment.
If it doesn't start with O and end with fence, I'm going to disagree with you.
No. So this week it's what is the worst part of this team right now.
If it doesn't start with D and end with fence, I disagree with you.
Okay. I think we all nailed that one. That was before I saw the chat earlier. I put that graphic up. So
I will say this though. There was a point.
Thanks, Amanda.
There was a point today where I stepped over to Rick and I said, This is our kneecap game.
Yep.
Like this is the one. When we were down by, I think it was 2 scores still at that point. It was just like, this is going to say what we need to hear about the Lions this year and what team they are and who they are and the culture that they've built. is, are they going to lay down? They're going to die here, or are they going to continue to fight and they're going to make this a game?
And they fought.
They bit some kneecaps today.
Yep.
I'll say that. They didn't win, but they fought.
Yes.
Everybody in that bar, both sides, had puckered buttholes.
Oh yeah.
Until that last minute of the game. And that's the kind of stuff that we want them to bring to the table every week. When we know that we can field a team that can play against anybody and be competitive against anybody, which they have been. Eagles especially have been playing pretty well. I'm not sure what they did today, but
they ended pulling out. They pulled out one.
They won. So they're 4-0.
Last I heard, Jalen Hurts got sacked 6 times, but they won.
And how many times did we sack? How many times did we sack freaking Dude Man today? 0.
Yeah, that's a problem. They got to figure that out. They got to figure that out.
He had no pressure. And when they did get pressure, he went outside and freaking ran for 20 yards.
But it's today was one of those moments where they can take and they can use as a building and learning experience.
And we said that last week.
And a confidence booster again, still, and a confidence booster. Where last week they lost because of a coaching decision, or 2 or 6. And this week we lost because of just poor execution.
Right. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It is all learning for us right now. It is learning. You had a young team. We're not getting blown out.
No, we're not.
We're not getting blown out.
We're playing good football.
Got to start putting some W's in.
They've scored how many points through 4 weeks, Butler? You said
we're number 3 in offense. We're number 3 in offensive scoring.
No, they have 140 in the first 4 games.
That's crazy. Yep. That's insane.
So they showed a stat. They showed a stat today, and it was the Seahawks were what 30 and stopping, and we were number 3 in offense, and we couldn't win this game.
No, I want to put this up because this one really hit home for me when I was browsing through Twitter today. Paul at Double Bass Dickhead says, every Sunday during the fall I spent 3 to 4 hours to be miserable. These hours happen to correspond with the Detroit Lions schedule. Yeah, they do.
I mean, that is a fair comment to make. It's unfortunate, but it's fair. And until they do something consistently enough to make comments like that stop happening, that's going to stay a fair comment. Yeah. And it doesn't make me happy to say that.
What's Will saying here? And
I've got the rest of it here. Basically, he's saying that remember in Colorado this season where he lost by 3 or 4 points in almost every game. He had us there and they cut him loose. Campbell's they're way quicker. We've got a younger team, and it's going to get exciting very soon. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think
and it will be. It will be. Yeah. I mean, it was exciting for us. And I started getting all these texts from all my buddies here. Like, oh my God, Lions are hanging in there. No, they they were saying, oh my God, the Lions are still in this game. How are you guys doing this game? You guys are scrapping. You guys are fighting. Think about the amount of starters that was on our bench today. What, 5? 5 starters on the bench?
I actually have a graphic of that. Hold on one second. This is the as of Sunday, and Quintus Cephas was during the game. But we had Demetrius Taylor, DJ Chark, John Kaminsky, Siebert, Jackson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DeAndre Swift, which were huge.
No, you're missing. Who's our safety?
Oh, Tracy Walker.
He wasn't Tracy Walker, but he's
on IR. That doesn't.
He's on IR. It didn't go down far enough below that where it says Thursday.
But that's another starter that's not on the field.
Yeah.
You know, so what we got 7, 8 starters not on the field, and they made a game of it.
So I guess this answers the question here. Missing the Detroit Lions pass rush. I'm assuming that's because we were playing man coverage all day.
Last same week too. No, completely correct. They need to get back to that. They need to get back to that quick because their defense is not good enough in any way, shape, or form to be able to play teams without putting pressure on the quarterback. You can disguise a bad defense with a good pass rush and call it a good defense. You cannot disguise a bad defense with no pass rush and call it a good defense. If they cannot get pressure on a quarterback, this is going to be a long-ass season. There's going to be a lot of points scored against the Lions.
There's our resident broadcaster, Neil, with the hot take. He's going to get a lot of comments like this week.
No, I'm serious, though. Like, they've got to do something different. We're not good enough to not blitz people.
I agree.
Hang on 1 second. I want to know why Butler didn't put Amanda's last post up there. Put it up there, Butler.
I did put it up there, Rick, but I'll put it up again. But I did put it up there. Yes. Do you pay attention to anything that goes on the screen, Rick?
Not really.
No.
Okay.
We don't even listen to you half the time.
Yeah, we don't listen to you. You got a big old building in there, by the way.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up.
Is that time already?
It's already. We've been doing this for an hour. You believe
next
that?
week, Patriots. We got the Patriots. Do we think we're going to win that game? Do we think we're going to win?
I hope we win that game.
Yeah, we have to. We have to win that game.
If we don't win that game, I'm going to cancel the tickets to the Giants and the.
You can't cancel them.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Matthew's got one question for us, real quick, and I can't really agree with this, but is Kaminsky giving out the reason the pass rush is weak?
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no to that.
I'm going to say no, but okay.
I'm not. Dude's a beast. When Hutchinson was most effective and he was applying the most pressure when Kaminsky was in the middle of that fucking line and eating up blockers, and Hutchinson was able to do his thing. I do think that Kaminsky is a solid football player, and we need to get him back as soon as possible without jeopardizing his health like some teams do with their players.
Can we talk about that real fast?
We
were debating.
Oh, right.
Let's talk about Tua. That was ridiculous for him to be back in the game. Deshaun asked us about that. A couple other people asked us about that on social media this week. I hope that that doctor should be in jail for that game.
Yeah.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
So it was.
I hope so. He did get fired?
It's not a team doctor. It's an independent doctor, and he was absolutely fired this week for allowing the chain of events to happen that allowed Tua to play in that game on Thursday where he got jacked up again. That guy is just taking so many hits to the head. He's going to be walking around Muhammad Ali here pretty soon, and everybody's just going to feel bad for him, and they're going to be like, oh, poor Tua, and they're treating him like he's a kid. But at some point in time, the league needs to take a stance, or the players need to take a stance as the player association and say, hey, if we're hurt, we're not playing. I don't care.
But I don't think they'll ever do that. I don't think the players want to do that.
Because if the league won't do it, the league cares about making money.
I know, but I don't think the players want to do it too. I put 90% of it in the NFL, but you got to put 10% on the players because the players don't want to miss the games either.
No, they want to be competitive. They want to play the game, and they want to make their money, and then the league wants to make their money. But when people's health come into play, and we're talking when you're taking shots like that where you're getting knocked out twice in 5 days, where that's long-term potential effects. It's not getting hit by some 170-pound dude at the bar. It is getting hit by a 300-pound professional athlete, and you're getting your shit rocked, and it's not good.
I don't think there was a flag on that play either, and he blatantly threw him to the ground.
There should have been a flag.
And that's the thing. They were both clean.
Yeah, there's a clean hit. He bounced his head off.
You thought that was clean? He literally did a 360 and threw him to the ground. He did a 360 and brought him around.
It's fine.
He sacked the quarterback.
Okay.
It's fine. But when you have a brain injury, you have these little fibers that are holding your fucking brain in suspense.
Ask Rick about brain injuries. He's got a lot of them.
It takes time. If they're lucky enough for these things to grow back and to hold your brain in the right place, it takes time for them to grow back. If you had a situation where some of those things were dislodged and your brain smacks against the side of your skull and you were knocked out and you can't stand up, call it a back injury if you want. I call bullshit on that because I've had back injuries. And when I have a back injury, yes, it makes me stumble. It makes me fall. But I can't stand back up because it's a fucking back injury. That was a head injury, and he's trying to disguise it because he's a competitor. That's my speculation about the whole thing. I'll call it that. But to clear him medically from a league standpoint and say this person is completely competent to go back in and play another professional football game without any risk of further injury to the same body part related to this injury, you're good? Bullshit. No, not okay. Not okay. They have to do better than that. You have to care about people.
Did you see his fingers?
Yeah, he looked like he was trying. You looked like he was in an episode of Stranger Things.
Man, that was so. That was so freaking weird to see his fingers all. That was crazy.
They have to care about the people. People over money.
All right, we can all agree that was bullshit, and the NFL
needs
to
be
responsible, and that doctor needs to be responsible. And I'm sure I'm not going to victim blame here, but Tua needs to take a little responsibility too, because if I was him, if I'm really concerned about my health, I probably wouldn't have played.
If you're getting paid millions of dollars a year,
I know. You're right.
And I'm Neil saying that. You guys know how much I love Richard Sherman. That son of a bitch. So during the Thursday night game, during the halftime, he's blaming the fans. He's like, "You fans need to understand. We're here for your entertainment. We're out there and we're sacrificing our life and our family's livelihood for your entertainment." No, bitch, you out there because you're making millions of dollars. Don't fucking put it on the fans. I can't believe Richard Sherman's saying that shit.
Give him a sword and then blame it on us.
Right.
Be a real gladiator. Here.
All right, what?
He's like, "You fans got to understand. We're out there for you." No, bitch, you are not out there for us. You're out there to make you millions of dollars. And it is sad what happened, by the way. I will say that.
Damn,
but I'm
with the hot take later. Look at that.
No, Sherman pissed me off.
The passion.
Like, he turned that whole thing around like, "Oh, they're doing it for us." No, you're not. Oh, I'm going to get up and play football for my fans.
One last question, Austin. Do you think the Lions acquire any free agent defensive players, and if so, who? I don't know enough about the defensive players that are available. I don't know. The cutoff must be coming in game 6 or 7 or 8, right? It should be coming pretty quick here.
Yeah, when is that?
It's coming up, but I mean, there's a few. There's several weeks left, but
yeah,
I don't think that they go and spend money this year on anybody.
Maybe they need to look at a free agent coach. Ricky came in under this week, so I won this week. He only had 3, and we forced 2 of them. So I mean, it was. I'm impressed, Rick. You need to drink more on Sundays, Ricky.
Well, I'm trying to be good, so AJ doesn't fire me.
Well, Jeff would fire you, but AJ's not going to fire you. So
I'm trying to keep it PG fucking 13. You fucking peckerhead.
Yep, you can say that word one time and it's PG-13. You say it twice, it's R.
Oh,
yep,
peckerhead.
Not that word, idiot.
All right, boys, let's wrap it up. We went a little over this week, but a good interaction. Thanks for joining us. We're here at Rain City Roar. We will be back next week, and then the week after that, I will be up in Seattle for the next 2 weekends for the games.
Time out. When are you coming up here? Because I'm gonna be in. I'll be in Mexico next week. I'll be doing my part from Mexico.
Next week, I'll still be here. It'll be the week after that and the weekend after that.
I'll be on the beach.
All right. Well, make sure your internet works.
Yeah. They have internet in Mexico, right?
I think they do, Rick. Yeah, I think it's everywhere in the world.
No, it's only in the United States.
So I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode.
On tequila.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be drunk next week.
And the camera make turn at the thongs that walking by, but I'll be there.
I'd love to see it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for another week of Rain City Roar. I'm Butler.
I'm Neil.
I'm Detroit Rick. Peace